I like to ask people, how many of you believe a potato is a carb? How many of you believe that a banana is a fruit? How many of you believe that a corn is a vegetable? And all of that is wrong, because a corn is a carb, a banana is a carb because it's just a grass, and a potato is a root vegetable, which breaks down differently than via the amylase in the mouth. And so it depends on how the body works to break down the food, so you know what you're eating and how is it going to work for you.
This is the Kevin Trudeau Show.
I am exposing the corruption in government and in major multinational corporations. We're telling you the things that they don't want you to know that will make your life better.
Cindy Sellers, my dear friend, owner and founder of Angel Farms, and author of this book, You Don't Have to Hurt Anymore, The Enlightened Way to Health. She is probably one of the most knowledgeable people of how to be healthy on the planet. She probably knows more about the physical body than most medical doctors. And she's a wealth of information. It's my joy and pleasure to be here. We are at a secret location. Some of you may have figured out where we are based on the fact that Cindy is here with us. Angel Farms Health and Rejuvenation Clinic. She's the founder of. 5,000 people have been through your program?
10 now.
10,000 people from around the world, including very successful people, very wealthy people. Her Holiness Saima was at the facility.
Yep.
I have been there 3 times.
Yep.
Highly recommend and endorse it. Cindy, you got into health because you had a car accident?
I did, in which my back bent in the middle. And so from 83 to 89, I lived in hellacious pain. And the only thing the doctors told me they could do was break my back and put 2 titanium pins in it. And I refused, because I'm not going to let them break my back, and it was just bent. So, but I did search a lot. I learned a lot during that time. You know how our journeys take you on this, like, let's fill up our educational toolbox. And then, but in 89, I'm laid on my living room floor in a neck brace, and I was so pissed off at God. It's not supposed to be like this. Now I'm going to take care of my children, and I'm not getting up till I got an answer. And sure enough, I got an answer, and so I started it, and 10 days later, my back was straight, and I was done. And I've been doing it now for 35 years.
And it's evolved over the years, correct, to where it is today?
Yeah. It took me a while to figure out what's the best food program, because I was looking into raw food, and I only lasted one orientation meeting of the 2 top raw food schools in the country, because they start out with, you don't get enzymes if you don't eat raw food. I'm like, wait a minute, excuse me, but could you please explain to me the functions of the pancreas? And you know what? They don't know. That's a problem, because it's not true.
So you started finding out that medical doctors and health experts who are licensed, for example, really don't even know how the body works.
Right. They don't know.
All right, so we're going to talk about some specific things, some of the myths that maybe you are doing because you think you're doing it because you think it's healthy for you. All right, let's talk about, you mentioned raw food, so we'll start there. Raw food diet. There's a lot of people who say humans are the only people that cook their food. Gorillas don't cook their food. Monkeys and chimpanzees don't cook their food. We're very close to them. Why do we have to cook our food? And when you cook food, you kill all the enzymes in the food. Thus, we should only be eating raw food.
Not true.
Why?
Well, first of all, if everybody that was eating cooked food we didn't get what we need out of it, then we'd be dead. A lot of us, right? It couldn't work. But you have to understand that the beautiful little pancreas produces 325 different enzymes after the food leaves the stomach for 23 feet of enzymatic breakdown in the small intestine. And so it isn't true that you don't get enzymes if you don't eat raw food, because then as long as you understand the pancreas, you know that it produces plenty of enzymes for you.
So the body is producing enzymes regardless of whether the enzymes have been killed in the cooking process.
Correct.
What about the mouth?
The mouth produces 1.5 liters. The pancreas also produces 1.5 liters of amylase every day, just to break down your carbohydrates, which is anything that grows like a grass. And so I like to ask people, how many of you believe a potato is a carb? How many of you believe that a banana is a fruit? How many of you believe that a corn is a vegetable? And all of that is wrong, because a corn is a carb, a banana is a carb because it's just a grass, And a potato is a root vegetable which breaks down differently than via the amylase in the mouth. And so it depends on how the body works to break down the food, so you know what you're eating and how is it going to work for you, right? So if you have a lot of inflammation in your body, really better to back off on your carbohydrates so your pancreas can help with your inflammation and not work so hard on breaking down all the carbohydrates.
So a raw food diet. Again, people are out there, and I did a raw food diet for 3 months. And my poor friend Andrew Melcher was at my house when we were doing it because I had a raw food chef, not a raw food cook, because they don't cook. They warm the food up a little bit. And it was brutal. It was brutal. But the whole idea was you're getting living enzymes from raw food, and it's better to eat raw food than cook food. And what you just suggested is when you look at people that are 100 years old around the world, maybe they eat some raw food in their diet, like a raw apple or a salad or something. But they're cooking the majority of their food and have been from the very beginning. And as you said, they didn't die.
That's right.
So do you think a raw food diet is healthy or unhealthy?
I think it's in many ways very unhealthy. Like you said, it was brutal for you. I tried it too. It was brutal for me. I was cold all the time. I didn't seem to have my energy, I will tell you, though, that when I got back from the second raw food school on the East Coast, I happened to be with one of my my Native American shamans, and I said, White Eagle, I'm really looking for what's the best way to feed people when they're doing the cleanse, because I want them to have, more softer food. I want the digestive system to have time to heal, but I don't want them to starve, right? And he said, well, mankind raised in consciousness when they started cooking in the pot because they added the fourth element of fire. I was like, oh, well, then we're moving more towards Ayurvedic medicine, which is softening the food, warming it, and letting people eat as much as they want as long as it's soft, and the digestive system really gets a chance to really heal. Right? But yeah, I like to add the fourth element of fire.
Well, it's funny because when people talk about raw food, I said, try to eat some raw rice.
Yeah.
See how that's going to do for you.
Yeah.
I mean, look, there's certain foods that obviously need to be cooked. You can't eat raw buckwheat or raw rice or raw wheat or raw rye. Any of the grains, you have to cook them. Right. And other vegetables, you can't eat a raw potato, can you?
Right. Well, I did when I was growing up, but not very much. And you also have to consider, what about all the people who have jaw problems, teeth problems, and they can't chew food like that. And you want to have your food so liquefied before you swallow it. And if somebody has trouble, you can't eat a raw piece of meat with and chew it till it's liquid if you don't have teeth. So there's always going to be exceptions on what's the best way for somebody to eat, where they're going to get the most absorption out of their nutrition to serve their body and build it.
Okay,
right?
so the bottom line here is, if you're going to eat raw food, and I have a salad, right? You eat salad. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so it's all raw vegetables. You chew it. Explain that.
You chew it till it's liquid, or you don't swallow it. That's very important, because
the stomach doesn't have teeth.
Yeah, your esophagus doesn't have teeth, your stomach doesn't have teeth, your small intestine doesn't have teeth, and your large intestine doesn't have teeth, and each one of them is designed for something different, and your teeth are the only way that you have a blender in your body. So, instead of just inhaling your food and getting it down as fast as you can, you want to take time with it and chew it and make it liquid in your mouth, and you're getting the most out of it and the most information on your tongue, which is known as your information station, because your tongue registers bitter, sour, astringent, salty, pungent, sweet, and fat, and lets your body know what's coming. And if you just inhale your food and don't chew it till it's liquid, you literally lose the game. And the problem is the intestine is like the inside of your mouth. So if everybody runs their tongue up the inside of their mouth, that same tissue goes all the way to your rectum. And what happens is that tissue is designed to absorb nutrients through the bowel wall if there's nothing in the way. And so if it's not small particles before it leaves your mouth, which the carbohydrates are designed to break down by the amylase in the mouth, and then the protein is designed to break down by the hydrochloric acid in the stomach, and the lower part breaks down the fats, and then you have 23 of enzymatic breakdown in the small intestine, and then you have your large intestine for bacterial breakdown. But if you don't have the particles broke down before you swallow it, then you're not going to be able to get the vital nutrients through the bowel wall, even at the end of it, in the large intestine, which is supposed to be for your bacterium breakdowns. And so, you have to liquefy it, or you lose the game.
So bottom line, if you're going to have raw food, like a raw salad, maybe you're going to have some raw fruit, which is all perfectly good. That should be part of your diet.
Yeah, 60, it's a really good to do 60-40. So if you do 60% raw, so that means you have a salad every day, and you might have your papaya, which was good this morning, with your fruit, and fruit and vegetables are a really nice thing to have, that you can eat raw, but you still want to have some cooked food.
Right. So if you're going to have raw food, make sure you chew until it's liquid.
Yep.
The enzymes gets released in the mouth, and it also tells via the tongue the rest of the body, here's what's coming, start releasing the enzymes needed to digest this so the body can assimilate the nutrients.
Correct.
Perfect.
Correct.
And then if you cook food, that's perfectly fine too. Are you killing enzymes in the food when you cook it?
No, because the enzymes are, you got to look at where your enzymes are going to be coming from, is from the pancreas after the food leaves the stomach. So your beautiful little pancreas, which I'm going to show a picture of.
Okay.
Because your pancreas is amazing. It looks like this. It's a 7-inch sea cucumber looking organ in the shape of a smile. So it looks like this. And your pancreas produces 1.5 liters of amylase behind your mouth to break down your carbohydrates, which is anything that grows like a grass, and then 23 feet of enzymatic breakdown for 325 different enzymes that are released after the food leaves the stomach. But before it does that, the pancreas releases a natural bicarbonate or a baking soda and neutralizes the hydrochloric acid coming out of the stomach. So then it can release all those beautiful enzymes for 23 feet of enzymatic breakdown. So that's the job of the small intestine, is enzymatic breakdown in an alkaline condition.
Hi, I'm Kevin Trudeau. This is everything they don't want you to know about to improve the quality of your life. Broadcasting every Monday and Wednesday, 2 days a week now. Monday and Wednesday at 1 o'clock Chicago time. Make sure you tune in and subscribe to the channel and share these shows with everyone you know.